Good morning, everybody. Uh, Happy to see you and hear from you today and to talk about speech analytics and generative AI and customer service. Who could trade affect speech analytics? Now, that is a good question that we could try to talk through. Um, well, I guess right, for real speech analytics, we're going to need some content. So this is going to be a fun start. So, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. And if you're working remote or not working, but if you're at school, remote or in person or delayed start today, hope you're all doing well and are staying safe and warm at this point. I see the Q&A questions got removed, but good question about speech analytics, Luca trade and generative AI. Just thinking about that in a second, in 3 seconds. So generative AI and speech analytics is a powerful way to understand and take in unstructured data in a quick way, structure it and analyze it, right? And generative AI will be able to produce the context and content from it. So speaking of the Luca trade, it's very difficult, I would say, to look and review all the coverage about it. There's going to be podcasts, there's news articles, there's ESPN announcers talking through it, etc. What you can do within the speech analytics and generative AI realm would be to feed all that information, download all the files instead of having to actually listen to them, run them through a text transcription service, or if you're paying for higher end models from generative AI, just send them directly through to the large language models. And they'll interpret all the results for you and produce a point of view or allow you to interact and interface with that data about the Luca trade in a way, shape, or form that would have been very, very difficult to do and very taxing, I'd say, to do yourself prior. And actually, that's a bit of the story here at Con Edison as we go through it, is that the generative AI advancements have really been able to unlock us to understand and dig into customer sentiment and customer intents and customer complaints when they're calling Con Edison in a much more detailed and analytical manner than we could before, helping us with employee coaching, understanding trends that are happening within customer service, and really identifying training opportunities for our employees as well in performance management. So that's a bit what I'll get into today. Appreciate you all for joining. From an agenda standpoint, I'll kind of give you a bit of an introduction about myself, Con Edison, and generative AI in general. We'll do a poll with the team for that. Then I'll talk to you about the actual pilots that we're doing at Con Edison in the customer service realm for generative AI. And then I want to wrap it up with some considerations for each of you when it comes to this new technology and things to think about in your day-to-day life and as you kind of progress through high school, college, and jobs, etc. Entering into the real world, you could say. So about Con Edison. Con Edison, if you haven't heard about it before, we are the power company of New York City and the county above, just north of New York City. We provide electric, gas, and steam to every building and customer in the area. This includes, the Empire State Building, the Freedom Tower, Grand Central, every Times Square, every aspect that brings New York to life is powered by Con Edison. And the city of New York or so is about 300 square miles total. And to ensure that we have safety and reliability of the electric service, making sure those lights on Broadway never go off, unlike the Billy Joel song. We have 160,000 miles of electric cable underground and above ground across the city itself. 160,000 miles of cable can get you to New York and LA 28 times, or circumnavigate the world 6 times or so, or just be crammed underneath the concrete jungle of the city. We serve over 4 million you call it service points of actual like meters that receive power, and it serves about 10 million Americans. So that's a quick little bit about Con Edison itself. Myself, who I am, much more professional photo there than what you see here. Um, I am the program manager of our customer data analytics team, and what that my team is about 35 people or so, um, and we provide data and analytics insights for our customer service operations. And at the power company in New York, our customer service operations manage any kind of key touch point customers have with us, or a website, mobile app, uh, chatbot, virtual assistants, and our call center. We also have the staff that actually goes to people's homes to read their meters and interact with them for a variety of reasons. We handle all the billing on accounts, and we also handle special interest groups and interact with large parties that have a lot of opinions and needs from an energy standpoint. Um, my team provides analytics across all those different areas, and we're going to be talking specifically about the call center today, which I'll get into in a second. But more about me. So when I was growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut. I was very big into engineering and science curriculars in high school. Outside of playing soccer, uh, running track, playing tennis, and also being kind of vice president of my class, involved in band and a few other things. I went up going to college for engineering and entrepreneurship, and really was planning on being an engineer. Um, but as my experience in the entrepreneurship kind of morphed and had more engagement there, I instead of going the full engineering track, which I spent 2 internships making jet engine parts, I decided to be a consultant and moved back to New York City. I went to Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, and was a consultant for about 3.5 years, helping companies understand their digital landscape and produce new digital experiences and tools to try to compete with financial services startups largely. So I was working with banks, working with insurance companies, building out their digital platforms and experiences for customers. And then shortly after moving to Con Edison, kind of moved into the big data and analytics space and built out this customer data analytics team that I have now under me currently. And why we got into big data was that every single customer experience and customer analysis that we were looking to do came with a big data problem, and it was really difficult to solve without an analytics platform. And then quickly, I have 2 kids. One is 6 weeks old and really keeping us up at night. So I might look a little tired. I got a dog during COVID. She's next to me right now. And I also love to cook. Despite the last name, a Van name, I'm largely Italian. So I do want to put some polls out there, and then let's see if I know how to publish this. Let's get a sense from everyone here in this group to understand kind of your sense of generative AI, how frequently you utilize it, and that'll change how quickly I kind of move through the next slides or so. So if you could just kind of answer the polls about, I guess, what do you think generative AI is, and also how often do you utilize generative AI tools in your life currently? And I think those are published. I have to say, as I was prepping for this session, I did use Microsoft Copilot to help me write these questions. I'm not nearly as creative as the AI is. Great answers so far in the super smart computer that could draw pictures of unicorns, alien technology. That's an interesting one. Digital genie that grants wishes in the form of text and images. If you've used Dolly, that is very much true. And a fancy name for a really smart calculator. I wouldn't use generative AI for calculators just yet, but unless you tweak it in a little bit. So exciting to see that almost half of the group here uses generative AI daily, and about in total 60% will use it a few times a week. So about 30% rarely. So thanks for the engagement in the poll there. Feel free to keep on answering it, but that does ground us for the next section. I'll move somewhat quickly to talk about AI and what it's evolved to. And you might have seen this in some of your classes, but artificial intelligence is this category that has been around for a very long time. You know, there probably since 1970s or so, with machine learning being at the forefront, where machine learning kind of utilizes algorithms to analyze patterns and predict future outcomes. In the machine learning space, there's a massive range of what complexity that exists there. And if you've ever done a regression analysis in math class or even in some of your computer science classes, that's technically machine learning. As those algorithms have advanced and as our semiconductors have advanced, et cetera, there's been a focus on deep learning, which is the next tier, I'd say, of machine learning, which helps detect more complex patterns using neural networks. And it's not something I'm going to talk about here, but that's kind of the next phase. And then the next evolution after deep learning has been generative AI, where generative AI is a type of neural network that's kind of produced that's able to detect and abstract relationships and generate new contents through the large language models or language models in general that generative AI feeds off of and utilizes. And really, when we think about all these are types of artificial intelligence, right? When you think about AI, everyone now thinks about generative AI, but machine learning and deep learning exists as well and have been around for a very long time. Machine learning and deep learning helps you solve analytical tasks. And then generative AI really helps you create new content, right? New text, images and videos and code are some examples there. And then we're going to talk about that right now. But so moving into how we're utilizing generative AI in the call center, I just want to kind of give you a sense of what our call center is. So Con Edison supports 10 million customers, 4 million accounts, and we receive about 7 million calls a year. And our agents actually wind up answering 3 million because a variety of those calls wind up get handling by our 1-800 number. When we're talking about calling Con Edison, it's truly calling 1-800-75-CON-ED. And customers call us to make payments, to complain, to understand their bill, to sign up for service, a wide range of things. Our agents will take about 40 calls a day, enabling about 200 calls per week. And then our supervisors have about 16 agents to them. So when you think about being a supervisor in this space, and the expectation is that you're able to coach your employees weekly about their call quality and where they're heading, be able to provide one-on-one support and be at the ready whenever a customer and agent's having a challenging call with a customer, and then also plan out performance management and reviews over time and really look to improve the skill sets of your agent. However, the day-to-day work makes it really difficult to listen to phone calls. And then when you think about how many agents that you have, they're generating about 3,200 calls per week. Getting a representative sample for 1 or 2 agents, or even all 16 of them, in that week of listening to calls that take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, is pretty much impossible in a 40-hour work week. So our call center has been performing, but always struggling with really understanding and providing that qualitative performance and reviews in a quantitative way for our employees. And last year, as generative AI solutions really became more prevalent, my team was able to help build out opportunities to really dig into this. So we're utilizing a variety of different pilots that I'm going to talk to you about at Con Edison right now in the call center. But we are seeing that we're able to, the AI is able to review 70% more calls than previously, and allows more consistent and accurate coaching. And our employees themselves are getting about 17 additional hours per month to focus on higher value work than just sitting and listening to calls that take some significant time. Okay, so what are we doing at Con Edison with the generative AI standpoint? As a whole, what we're doing, think structurally, is that we're grabbing customer phone calls that are already recorded. We're transcribing the text of those phone calls. So we're taking 10-minute calls, 20-minute calls, 30-minute calls, an hour-long call, translating, turning all that content into text, and then we're passing that text through a version of ChatGPT's GPT-4o Mini, and producing outputs that help us with call intents, which is the reason why customers call, provide service rep scorecards for supervisors to use and help with training, deliver coaching feedback that our supervisors are then able to review and provide our employees, and also identify enhancements for our virtual assistant, Watt, which is the chatbot on our content.com website. That's what we're doing with generative AI, which I'll talk about. And just on the right here, you'll see that at Con Edison, we are also using machine learning in the customer service space, doing a lot of prediction and forecasting modeling, as well as some propensity modeling to understand what customers are likely to engage in certain types of programs. So what are we call intent? There are about 7 different high-level reasons why customers call us. The quality of our employees inputting what the call was about isn't that great right now. They could choose over 300 different codes in our billing system to represent it, and they write really good notes. However, if you've worked with unstructured data before, it's really difficult to structure it. So our standard reporting and the structured data is a little bit tough. We're utilizing generative AI to take that unstructured data of the entire transcripts and notes and pull out what the key call reasons are. And now we're doing reporting off of those calls and throwing in handle time, customer callbacks, customer complaints, et cetera, to get a better understanding of what key calls are happening from our customer base, what ones are customers more challenged and confused about, and what types of calls are going well and doing great. We've been able to also produce these kind of scorecards and feedback now with our customer service representatives, where we're once more moving from qualitative to quantitative analysis that gives our supervisors and managers an immediate sense of where their employees are, and then they're able to dig in to those specific scores and provide qualitative and real creative feedback to our employees. These scores are really helping us right now with training. We're hiring over 150 employees currently in the call center space. Trying to understand and give that coaching to those employees takes a lot of... Sorry about that. I somehow muted myself. Takes a lot. Trying to provide that calls and feedback really takes a lot of time, and we're able to kind of roll that all up there. Live coaching is pretty cool, and we're starting to get there. We're not fully live right now, but with the call transcription and the generative AI, we're providing it prompts and saying, tell us about what happened on the call, tell us what could be improved, tell us about the employee's tone, tell us about the customer's tone, provide coaching in these 5 different ways. And the generative AI produces all that for us. We've even created email forms that you're able to create an immediate email that gets produced, from this week's worth of calls for Mark, and it tells me exactly what I could be improving upon. As a manager, I'm able to review that, make some tweaks, and then ship that email off, saving a significant amount of time. And in the future, we do want to, as we upgrade our telephone systems, provide live coaching to reps while they're physically on a call with a customer, just improve end-to-end customer satisfaction. And then lastly, we have this chat bot that you see on the screen here. That's a live chat agent built using non-generative AI technologies. And we're now making the chatbot smarter while producing and plugging in some of these generative AI tech where, you're able to do a little bit more natural language understanding. Customers can text and ping us about a variety of different things, as opposed to needing to do these specific drop downs that you see in that, or buttons that you see in that photo there. Excuse me for my voice today. Everyone's sick. And lastly, kind of looking in the AI space and in the call center. We talked about a few things that Con Edison's doing, but everything on the right here is, I think, what you see on in general, how you could apply artificial intelligence in the call center. What's in bolded blue here are new things that we aren't trying and haven't done yet, but I see in the future we will look to do personalized customer interactions, actually providing language translation live to support our multilingual customer base. You know, we have customers speak over 100 different languages, and we support 18 currently in the call center, and provide 24/7 support, which we're not going to be doing at Con Edison, but I do want to show you what some of the capabilities are in this space with a quick video here, where at some point when you call a company, maybe even today, but definitely within the next 1 to 3 years, you might not even know that you're talking to an AI agent to fully handle your needs or asks end to end. And I'm going to play a video here of just trialing what that looks like with one of the latest GPT 4.0 models from October.
Hey everyone, so today I'm going to do a quick demo of the new GPT 4.0 real-time model series. These models were just released on October 1st, and they're now available in the OpenAI Studio as a preview. It's not available in the API yet, but once it is, it'll be integrated into EddieGPT. So here's the quick demo. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? What's up?
I'm doing all right. I want you to help me learn about Con Edison's heat pump programs and also explain what a heat pump is.
I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Let's start with what a heat pump is. A heat pump is a device that can both heat and cool your home. It works by transferring heat between the inside and outside of your house, depending on the season. In the winter, it pulls heat from the outside air. Yes, even cold air has some heat energy and moves it indoors. In the summer, it does the opposite, removing heat from your home and transferring it outside, effectively cooling your living space. It's a very energy-efficient way to manage your home's temperature because it moves heat rather than generating it by burning fuel. Now, about Con Edison's heat pump programs. Con Edison offers programs to encourage customers to switch to energy-efficient.
Hey, can you say that in Spanish? I just want my mom to listen to it.
Seguro. Aquí va. Vamos a hablar de lo que es una bomba de calor.
So I wanted to show a little bit of that demo from our kind of AI architecture lead right now that shows how native and natural that conversation was. That agent was providing key details about heat pumps, which is a critical energy efficient technology for the clean energy transition that Con Edison's going through right now. And it's been able to clearly articulate what that is in ways that that a normal human can do. And then that being able to flip on a switch to have all those points in Spanish or any other language is just absolutely incredible. And that's where I think the space is going to really transform. Uh-oh. Connor, I do see some of your questions here, so I'm going to answer them in a second. I realize I want to spend a good amount of time for Q&A, so I'm going to fly through what I would call kind of some of these considerations and implications for each of you very quickly. And the first really is that artificial intelligence is really is being seen as one of these general purpose technologies that have completely transitioned and changed the way society functions. You'll see some of these here on the screen: the steam engine, factories, electricity, semiconductors, the internet. All these things completely revolutionized what it meant to be a human in society, and we're all better for it. Artificial intelligence is going to be the same critical technology. So I think the entire world and space is going to be affected by AI. Currently is, but it'll be happening over the next 5 to 10 years. And secondly, when you think about some of these innovations, the pace of adoption and innovation is significantly changing, where we took about 60 years to go from water-based power in the 1700s to steam and rail in the mid 1800s. And now when we think about the digital revolutions with the internet in 1990, now digitization in 2020, the pace of innovation is going faster and faster and faster, and our impacts are going to be much quicker as well. So you as high school students today, soak up all this information, understand the data, dig into it where you can. Innovation is going to keep on occurring, and be willing to learn and keep an open mind, because life's going to look a lot different for you now than in 15 years or 50 years. And we're going to really see a crazy pace of change in the future. The next key thing that really want to make sure I hit on is use AI responsibly. I probably could have spent 20 minutes talking about this, but when I was in high school, the internet was the questionable technology, right? And we couldn't utilize Wikipedia as a source for any of our research or information or papers. No, that's changed significantly. And one of the key things when it comes to new technologies and really understanding technologies in general is that they're meant to assist you. They're not meant to replace your thinking and your interactions. So they're all supposed to improve you as a person and as a human, or in work as your processes. They're not supposed to end-to-end replace it, because you're going to lose that human touch, and also that general validation and thinking. And I'll get to that in a second. Beware, especially if you move to fully rely on AI for things. There could be significant inaccurate outputs. Bias will occur if you're not testing and cleaning for it. There can be threats to security, privacy, and you're going to probably see a lot of like spear phishing and text message scams and things like that coming, that are feeding and fed through generative AI. You got to look out for deep fakes, and difficulty in really understanding the core and root of metrics and information. How to apply AI in your life. I'll skip this. It seems like everyone's kind of utilizing it, and you could probably look at the slides later. And 3 things that I think everyone should know is understand really how to validate information that's being generated in this space and by AI itself. You need to validate, you need to take that step. And even at Con Edison, when we do work on this stuff, the easy part is the generative AI and the prompt engineering and engaging with it. The harder part is the quality data and the testing that has to occur, and the continual testing that really is needed to make sure that these models and information doesn't drift and produces something that is inaccurate. The second thing, in all artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, it requires significant quality data to be successful. And you really want to make sure that your data inputs are important there, especially. So if you're in the data engineering track, et cetera, you are in a good place. Data engineering is incredibly important. And even if you move into data science, outside of school and lab settings, 90% of data science is going to be data engineering to clean up the data, to then do the data science on top of. And as you interact and interface with generative AI tools, it's going to be really important to understand prompt engineering. I'd recommend watching YouTube videos, taking Coursera courses, or maybe seeing if your teachers can provide you more details on prompt engineering, because that's going to be the key way you interface with generative AI and make sure you get the most efficient and effective outputs. And I see that we have a good amount of questions here. I'm going to be skipping through a few of them. Number one, Connor, appreciate you. I'm going to skip through the opinion in AI, because I think I could talk probably for 20 minutes on there, but it is a helpful technology. You need to control how you use it, be safe, and don't be biased. Don't allow it to run your life or your company, and really ensure that you're being secure. I could talk about that for too long. As an aspiring electrical engineer, yeah, Con Edison is a great place to work, and ComEd and any kind of other local utility companies are really exciting in this space. There's a massive amount of transformation happening right now with our clean energy transition. Are there any careers I would avoid due to AI? This is a really interesting one. I almost put a slide in about what industries think that they're going to be affected by AI, and every single one will be. So I wouldn't consider it that I would avoid a certain career, but your career will be enhanced and engaged in different levels based on the maturity of the business area and what can be AI'd, quote unquote. Um, you're going to need to be able to understand and interface with this information, and you're going to ideally be AI will take care of some low value work, so you could do more higher value thinking and engagement. So it's going to be really important to still just maintain and use this technology just like you use a car. And that's kind of how I think of it. It's going to be like the car. It's going to be like using Google and uh, whatever else. You're going to have to be a tool in your toolkit and be comfortable with it. But I don't really see many careers being fully replaced by it for you, right? Your life, there definitely will be some jobs that might change, but it's for yourselves right now. I think it's all about how do you kind of be flexible and stay up to date with the technology so you can engage effectively with it. Opinion on some companies now using AI to completely replace workers on the ethical side. From a business ethics standpoint, I think it's a really important thing for companies to recognize that your human talent is your most important talent that you have, and really to have that blossom regardless of what technology is occurring. So even if there are aspects of the technology space that things might be advancing in, you should be able to identify where else your employees can grow, or aid to it. And I feel pretty passionately that your people are your number one asset. It doesn't matter what company you work for, what type of line of business, it's the person that makes the difference on a day-to-day basis, not the tech. Do I think AI will be used as things such as lawyers in the future just due to the fact that they could have a whole law book memorized, et cetera? I think there's a lot of aspects in life that are incredibly complicated that you need to hire experts for. I take from like a business assessment, process mapping, and entrepreneurship standpoint is there's always that 80-20 rule where 80% of things might be simple. I'm just going to take that example, and you might want to build functionality for 80%, and then that remaining 20 is going to be the really difficult part. So you want to build a minimum viable product to produce that 80. I see AI in space of law and accounting, et cetera, as being potentially similar, right? And similar changes have happened over time as well, right? You don't have to file your taxes, so I wouldn't use that as an example, but let's say laws and wills are incredibly complicated. For myself and my family right now, I want to be able to put together a will for my two young kids, my wife, but we don't have a ton of assets. We both have standard salaries, et cetera. Our will could be simple. Then we might be able to utilize AI for that, right? And it's kind of standard opportunistically. But once life gets more complicated, we'll still need that expert and that we could interact with and interface with to build out our will once our life gets more complicated. And that's going to be where some of those where your jobs in that one example for law and wills might come into play. So once more, AI will feed and fuel and support that 80%, but that 20% that's really gnarly and confusing still is going to require that human touch, that personalization that might be more difficult to produce from some of these large language models. AI models, including GPT models, have limits and sometimes get good information, but sometimes it's correct. What do you think as far as customer service goes? My company stance is that we're not going to provide for customer service. You're not going to be calling the call center and talking to an AI. You're going to be talking to a human. That's one of the big perks that we think about our call center and customer service, especially in the New York territory. We hire New Yorkers to serve New Yorkers. And when we first started doing a lot of this generative AI and speech analytics for custom like tone, both sides of the coin the AI was saying, like, people were angry at each other. Then when our employees listened to the call, they're like, oh no, they're just talking. Like, this is just normal discourse in New York City. So outputs can be incorrect. And that's why it's really important to do quality testing and having a true testing program for any of these solutions that might be implemented. And even in any of your projects as you go through it, like I said before, the tech is probably 20%. The change management process and training and validation is going to be that 80%. And that's really still the hard part. And you can still utilize some, technology to help support testing, et cetera. But when AI models do get things incorrect, you need to know about it immediately. And if you aren't able to control for that, then you haven't set up your program or product correctly. So it's really focusing in on how to be accurate. And then the second thing, at least for us within our pilots, is that we're not making key like hiring, firing decisions, et cetera, off of this. This is just aiding our managers, supervisors, and leadership to make decisions after their real analysis still occurs. So we're not removing a part in the process right now about employee reviews or employee coaching. We're just speeding it up. And by just removing that barrier that big data and confusing information has, because it takes really time to sift through all that information, and AI is really good at sifting through data for you. Moving on, and apologies, I know I'm going over, so I appreciate everyone for staying. Where do you envision generative AI in customer service 10 years from now? That's a fun one. It's gonna sound probably different than what I've been saying a little bit here, but it's gonna depend on the business and how given customer service strategies are gonna be occurring. But I heard recently on a podcast that the OpenAI and other big AI vendors are expecting AI agents to be just as good as humans within 3 years. What I likely envision happening from a generative AI standpoint is that a lot of customer service is going to be automated and personalized significantly more than it is today across every industry. Versus right now, you experience a lot of AI and automations in like the marketing space, where you're getting all your push notifications and the right emails for things that you sign up for. I envision more companies are going to be more holistic about that and really understand that Mark or Memphis or Adija Bakinro, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing your name. Each of us are different people fundamentally. From a customer service standpoint, utilizing AI and other technologies and quality data, we'll begin to recognize who Mark is and how I'm different than someone else and respond to me in different ways. So for example, maybe I really do have a high propensity to interface and interact with artificial intelligence. So there'll be a track for me when I do call my 1-800 number to automate my life. But maybe, like my mother doesn't feel comfortable with working with AI. I should know that as a customer service organization and make sure that she doesn't need to, that she never experiences interfaces and interactions that are generated by AI. I think that's where we're going to be heading to 10 years from now, is that we'll finally get enough opportunity to really crack the personalization challenge that exists right now when you're actually servicing customers, to really enabling customer experiences exactly how Mark prefers or exactly how my mother prefers, et cetera. And that's going to be the change, because right now those personalized experiences that you have are largely in sale for when someone's trying to sell something to you, or maybe an Instagram or TikTok or whatever, right? Where their algorithm is trying to sort and move you into a space to keep you there. That's not customer service, right? Customer service is to give quality experiences, to delight your customers, ensure that any interaction that you have with Con Edison, ComEdison, your other like any other power company, and your bank, your cup of coffee or whatever is perfect and attuned to you. And I think that's where it's going to, that's what's really going to be there, is that customer service and the focus on you as a human is going to drastically change and be much better across every single type of interaction you have, not just the ones that people are trying to sell you for or try to keep you into their sphere of influence for ads, etc. I know we're a bit over time. I really appreciate everyone joining today and engaging here. I'll stay on for any other questions and commentary that you might have. But I hope you all had a great day and keep on enjoying the Next Tech conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Mark. Thanks for joining us today. Those were great. I loved your answers. I was really impressed that you were willing to respond to what AI is going to look like in 10 years, because I have no idea what it's going to look like a year from now. So thank you so much.
I might be wrong, but at least, but you never know.
Hey, I also wanted to let you know that Shantae, who's the data scientist at United, she came back for the next session because we had a cancellation. So I don't know if you want to stick around, but I can share her session with you if you wanted to watch it.
Let me know. Is it in the? Yeah, let me know what it's called.
Yeah, it is called Data Science as a Superpower.
That's a good one.
I can send you the link. I'll put it. I don't know if it's gonna copy properly. I put it as a question.
Oh, cool.
In there, so you can head over there if you want to watch it. If you want to passively watch it while you're responding to emails, that's great. But anyhow, it's another data scientist, so I wanted to let you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenna.
Yeah, thank you. And then students, we'll see you over in any of the other 4 sessions happening starting in 3 minutes.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.